the marks of 200 students are given. And what are the marks given? Between 10 to 19, how many students have got between 10 to 19? 7 students have got between 10 to 19. 20 to 29, only 11 students have got between 20 to 29 marks. And so on, you have till 80 to 89. Okay. What you see here is that all these classes that are given here, all these classes that you see, these are all class limits that are given to you, right? These are class limits. You cannot draw an ogive with the help of class limits. Therefore, you will first have to convert them to class boundaries. Okay. So let's convert these class limits to class boundaries and also calculate the cumulative frequency. Okay. So let us draw this table here. In this table, you will have 3 rows. Okay. The first row will be for class boundaries. The second will be for frequency. And the third will be for cumulative frequency, right? Now we consider the class limits, and we first write down the class boundaries. So how many you have here? There are 8. Right? So you have 10 to 19. So if you subtract 0.5 from 10, you get 9.5. So this class boundary becomes 9.5, the lower class boundary, and the upper class boundary, you add 0.5 to 19 to get 19.5. For the next one, you have 20 to 29. The lower class limit is 20. So you subtract 0.5 from 20 to get 19.5. And you add 0.5 to the upper class limit to get the upper class boundary. And similarly for the others. So 29.5 to 39.5. Next you have 39.5 to 49.5. Next you have 49.5 to 59.5. Next you have 59.5 to 69.5. 69.5 to 79.5. And finally you have 79.5 to 89.5. So all the class limits have first been converted to class boundaries. Now write down the corresponding frequencies. The corresponding frequencies as they are given: 7, 11, 20, 46, 57, 37, 15, and 7. Now next row is for the calculation of the cumulative frequency. Okay, and the cumulative frequency in this case, the first one will be 7. The next one, cumulative frequency, will be 11 plus 7, which is 18. Next one will be 18 plus 20, which will be 38. Next will be 38 plus 46, which is 84. Right? Yes. And next will be 84 plus 57, which is 141. Next will be 141 plus 37, which will be 178. Next will be 178 plus 15, which is 193. And the last one will be 193 plus 7, which will be 200. Right? And this is also equal to n, the total number of students. Right? Now, once we have got this, once we have converted these class limits to class boundaries, now we'll construct our usual table for the points. So which points are we going to take? We'll take the lower class boundary. Lower class boundary. And we'll take the cumulative frequency. If you see, the first lower class boundary is 9.5. So we'll write 9.5. And for the first cumulative frequency, we write a 0. The next lower class boundary is 19.5. So we write 19.5. And this cumulative frequency we are going to take as the first cumulative frequency. The next lower class boundary is 29.5. Okay. And the next cumulative frequency that we are going to take here is 18. The next lower class boundary is 39.5. And we are going to take the next cumulative frequency, which is 38. The next is 49.5. And the next cumulative frequency is 84. Next one is 59.5. And the next cumulative frequency is 141. Right? Next cumulative frequency, next lower class boundary is 69.5. And the next cumulative frequency is 178. And then you have 79.5. And the cumulative frequency is 193. And the last one you have 89.5. This you have 200. Right? So now what are the points that we are getting here? The points, if you see, we are getting here, this one is your x coordinate. And this one will be your y coordinate. Okay. So the first point will be 9.50. Next point will be 19.57. Third will be 29.5, 18. Next will be 39.5, 38. Next one will be 49.5, 84. And so on. Okay. So these will be your points, xy coordinates. Right. So now we have got our graph paper. Now, once we have got our graph paper, we'll draw the axis first of all, and then we'll decide the scale. So let's draw the axis first. This is my y-axis, and this is my x-axis. So we'll label it here, x. This is your origin, and this is your y-axis. Okay. So now we are going to decide on the scale of the graph. So what are we going to plot in the x-axis? We plot the marks in the x-axis, right? And what are the marks here? Starting 9.5 and ending in 89.5. So here we have our marks. And here we have our number of students. Right? Now we'll decide on the scale. Now in the x-axis, we plot the lower class boundary. So it starts from 9.5 and finishes at 89.5. So that's approximately 8 divisions you need. So if I start with 9.5 here, taking 10 divisions, I will not be able to reach that. So what I'll do here is I'll start with 9.5 here, right? And then you have a 10.5, and then you have so after 9.5 you have 19.5, not 10.5. It's 19.5, and then you have 29.5, 39.5, 49.5, 59.5, 69.5, 79.5, and finally you have 89.5. Right? So I have taken how many divisions here? I have taken 5 divisions here, right? 5 divisions. And what is it equal to? 19.5 minus 9.5, right? Which is 10. But you see here, the division here is uneven, right? 0 to 9.5. This does not count to 10. So what we are going to do is we are going to give a zigzag line here, right? So therefore, our scale is 5 divisions is equal to 10 units. That means 1 division in the x-axis is equal to 2 marks, right? So we're going to write here along x-axis. one smallest division is equal to 2 marks, right? Now, once we have decided on the scale in the x-axis, now we are going to decide the scale in the y-axis. So in the y-axis, you plot the cumulative frequencies, and cumulative frequencies, if you see, starts from 0 and ends with 200. So therefore, if I start with 20 here, 20, just like the earlier scale we had taken, so you have 40, you have a 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, and finally you have 200. So how much have we taken here? You have taken 10 divisions, right? Is equal to how much? 180 minus 20 is 20 students, isn't it? So therefore, how much is one division? One division is equal to 2 students. So you'll write the scale here along y-axis, one smallest division is equal to 2 students, right? So we have decided on the scale. Now the last thing remains is the second last thing, in fact, remains is how to plot the points. The first coordinate here is 9.50. This is the first coordinate, right? So how to start plotting the first points? So here you have 9.5, 0. This is your point here. This is 9.50. You plot your first point here. Next, if you see, you have 19.57, 19.5, and you have a 7. So 7, if you see, this point is 10. So 7 will be somewhere over here. 19.5, 7. Next point, if you see here, is 29.5, 18. 29.5, and this is your 20. And one division is equal to 2 students. So 18 students will be one division below 20. That means you have 29.5, 18, right? The next point that you see here is 39.5, 38. So you have 39.5 here, move vertically, and you have to plot 39.5 and 38. 38 is, this point is your 40. So 38 will be one division below 40, because one division is equal to 2 students. So this is 39.5, 38. Next is 49.5, 84. 49.5 is here. So you move vertically. 49.5, 84 you have. So if you move vertically, this is your point 80, right? And one division is equal to 2 students. So 81, 82 divisions above 80 will be your 84. So this is 49.5, 84. Next is 59.5, 141. 59.5 and 1, now you locate 140 because you have no move one division above, or half division above 140. So you have 59.5 and here is your 140, right? But you have to locate 141. The next division, this is 142 actually, right? So you have to somewhere midway between these two divisions, you have 141. So midway between this, you will give a coordinate here. So this will become your 59.5, 141. Next, 69.5, 178. So you locate 69.5 in the x-axis and you start moving vertically. And the next, the y coordinate that you have here is 178. So you start moving vertically above 69.5 and you locate 178. So 170 is here. This point is your 170, right? And 178 is, because one division is equal to 2 students, you have to move 4 divisions above. So this is your 178. 69.5, 178. right? And you have 79.5, 193. 79.5 is here, right? You start moving vertically above 79.5 and you will have to reach 193. So here 180, this is your point 190 here. This is your point 190. But you have to reach 193. So how many divisions you have to move above further? You will have to move 1.5 divisions, right? So from here you move 1.5 divisions here. So this will be your 193. So this is 79.5, 193. And the last point that you have is 89.5, 200. So 89.5, 200. This is your point 89.5, 200. This 89.5, 200. So we have plotted all the points. The last work that remains is to join the all the points. Now remember, again we will be drawing a freehand curve. So from here you start drawing a freehand curve, a very smooth curve. Okay, no need to move the pencil much while drawing this curve. A very, very smooth curve. Try not lifting the pencil while drawing the curve, right? So this should be a curve. This curve we have already obtained the ogive. Now once we have obtained the ogive, half of the work is done, right? What remains is to answer the questions. Now let's see what are the questions. The first question that you have is here is you have to locate the median. Now if you see n here is 200, right? So what should be the median? Median should be the n by 2th observation. This is question number 1. Median is equal to n by 2th observation, right? N is 200 by 2th observation, which is equal to 100 observation. Okay. So how do you locate the 100 observation in this case? First of all, you locate 100 here in the y-axis, right? Which one is 100? This is point in the y-axis is 100. So from here, with the help of a scale, you draw a straight line and until that straight line intersects the curve. Okay. Now once you have joined it with the once you have got the point of intersection of the straight line and the curve, from that point you draw a perpendicular on the y-axis. So this is your perpendicular on the y-axis, right? Now if you see this point here that you are getting, this point here is 49.5, and how many divisions are here? Approximately what I can see is you have 2 divisions here, right? And 1 division in the x-axis, what is the scale that I have obtained here? 1 division is 2 marks, right? So median will be equal to 100th observation, which is 49.5 plus 2 divisions, right? But what is 1 division equal to? 1 division is equal to 2 marks, right? So your median here will be 49.5 plus 4, which is 53.5. And that should be your answer. Absolutely clear? Second question. The second question here is the number of students who scored more than 35% marks. Okay, you have to calculate, remember, the number of students and what is given to you who have scored more than 35% marks. So what we'll try to do here is we'll first try to find the number of students who have scored less than 35% marks. So what we are going to do here is because we are talking about marks is given here, 39.5 is this point, right? Because on the y-axis you have plotted the marks, right? 39.5 is here. So therefore from now here you are going to draw a line from 39.5 till it intersects the curve, right? And from here you are going to drop a perpendicular on the y-axis. In fact, if you see, the coordinate of 39.5 here is 38. So how many students have got? This point here comes out to be 38, this point, right? So how many students have got less than 35% marks? Number of students. who obtained less than 35% marks is equal to, what is the point that you are getting here? 38. But here the question is, you have to calculate the students who have got more than 35% marks, right? So therefore, hence, number of students who obtain more than 35% marks is the total number of students, which is 200, minus number of students who have scored less than 35% marks, 138. So this should come out to be 162. So the number of students who have scored more than 35% marks is 162. And you have answered both the questions, and this is how you answer. Any doubts on any particular part of the explanation? Fine. We'll move on to the next question then. Also, again, a problem from median. Okay. Um, the question here states that the monthly income of 320 employees. So clearly this is your N that is given, total number of employees, 320 employees, right? In a company is given below. So what are the what is the monthly income? People, number of employees who earn between 6,000 to 7,000 is 20. Number of employees who earn between 7,000 to 8,000 is 45, and so on. Okay. Now what is the question here? Draw an ogive of the given distribution on a graph sheet taking 2 centimeter is equal to 1,000 on one axis. See, the scale is given to you. Here you will not have to decide the scale. The scale is already given to you. 2 centimeter is equal to rupees 1,000, and 2 centimeter is equal to 50 employees in on the other axis. Now the question is, you have to decide which axis you want, you will be taking. So median, which one is the variable here? You have to find out the median income, right? So this one is your variable, and variable is plotted where? The variable is plotted in the x-axis. So therefore, the monthly income must be plotted in the x-axis, right? And the number of employees, the cumulative frequency for the number of employees, must be plotted in the y-axis, right? So what we are going to do here is, before plotting the graph, and if you see here, all are class boundaries. All these are class boundaries, so you don't need to convert them. In the earlier problem we converted, but already here they have given you class boundaries, so you don't need to convert them. So what we are going to do here is, we are going to draw the table for the coordinates. Okay. So solution. So what we are going to do here is, we are going to take the lower class boundary first. Lower class boundary. And we are going to take the cumulative frequencies. The lower class boundary, if you see, first one is 6,000, second one is 7,000, third one is 8,000, and it runs till 13,000. So we start with 6,000 and we end with 13,000. We have 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, and finally you have 13,000. Okay. And while calculating the cumulative frequencies in this table, what did I tell you? The first cumulative frequency that you take is 0. Okay. The next cumulative frequency that you are going to take is 0 plus 20. So the first one will be 20. The next one will be this 20 plus 45. So 20 plus 45 is going to give you 65. So this is your 65. The next one will be 65 that you obtained plus 65, which is 130. Now this 130 that you got, you add it with 95. So you get 225. Now 225 that we have got here, we add it with 50 to get 285. 285 that we have got here, we add it with 30 to get 305, right? And finally 305 that we have got here, we add it with 5 to get 320. So there were 320 employees, right? So you have got 320 at the end. So what are the points here that we need to plot? 6,000, 0, 7,020, 8,065, 9,130, 10,225, 11,285, 12,305, 13,320. This is what we need to plot, right? Now we plot the lower class boundary in the x-axis, right? Because that is a variable. So what is the scale? Right from 6,000 till 13,000 we have to draw. So what we do is we first draw this axis. This is my y-axis. Right? And this is my x-axis. This is the origin. This is the y-axis. What are we going to plot in the x-axis? What is the variable here? The incomes, right? Monthly incomes or monthly, yes, monthly income. Monthly incomes. And in the y-axis, we are going to plot the number of employees. Right? Fine. Now the thing is, the scale is already given to you. What is the scale given to you? 2 centimeter is equal to 1,000 on one axis. 2 centimeter is equal to rupees 1,000. Rupees is which one? This one, monthly income. So 2 centimeter, how much is 2 centimeter here? This is 2 centimeter in the graph, right? 10 divisions is 2 centimeter. So this is your the first income group, which is starting from 6,000. So 6,000. Next 2 centimeter again, 7,000. Next 2 centimeter again, 8,000. 9,000. 10,000. 11,000. 12,000. And finally you have 13,000, right? And write the scale also here along x-axis. One smallest division. So how many smallest divisions here we are taking? We are taking 10 divisions here, right? And 10 divisions here, because we are starting with 6,000, we give a zigzag line, right? So we are going to decide the scale from the next one. This is 10 divisions, right? 10 divisions is equal to how much money? 1,000 rupees, right? So one division will be equal to how much? 10 rupees, right? So along x axis, one smallest division is equal to rupees 10. Along y axis. Now we are going to decide our scale along the y axis. Now, in order to decide the scale, we are going to see from which to which we are not decide. In fact, the scale is given. 2 centimeter is equal to 50 employees, they have said. So along the y axis, how much is 2 centimeters? This one is 2 centimeters, right? You have to take this as 50. So the first one is 50. Next one is 100. Next is 150, 200. Next you have 250, 300. And finally you have 350 because the total number of employees is 320. We have drawn till 350, right? Fine. Now we are going to plot all these points on this graph. So let's write down the scale once along the y-axis. What is the scale we have taken? This is 10 divisions is equal to how much? 50 employees, right? So one division is equal to 5 employees. So one smallest division here will be equal to 5 employees, right? Fine. So this scale is done. Now what we are going to do is we are going to plot all these points on the graph. All these points we are going to plot, and then we are going to answer these questions. What are the questions? You have to find out the median wage, the number of employees whose income is below 8,500. Third question is if the salary of a senior employee is 11,500, you have to find the number of senior employees in the company. And the final question is upper quad. Okay. So I'll continue with this question on Monday. Right. So I stop here.